You want to improve yourself every day. You want to be better who you were yesterday. That is very sweet of you. Let me ask you something. Better. In what sense? You see, a mango tree is not trying to become a coconut tree. And it's just trying to become a full-fledged mango tree. That's all. And that is enough. With Han. So the question is not how do I improve? The real question is, how do I become a full-fledged version of his life that you are? And that is the journey. But if you want a guide, I'll give you 10 simple keys, not philosophies. Simple doors. You can open doors, or you can walk past them. That's up to you. With Han. Start your day consciously, not on autopilot first thing in the morning. What do you touch? Your phone. No wonder your life is scattered like Wi-Fi signals. Instead, the first moment of waking up, just sit. Take a breath, hands. Say to yourself, I am alive. I am not a machine, I am life. Don't rush, because the seed of the day is planted in the morning. And don't be serious, be sincere. You don't need to walk around like a burdened saint. Many people confuse seriousness with wisdom. It's not. A sincere fool is more powerful than a fake genius. Whatever you do, while you're brushing your teeth or writing a novel, do it with sincerity. That alone is improvement. Spend 15 minutes a day with yourself. No phone, no talk, no scroll, no distraction. Just you and your breath. Just sit, not thinking, not planning, just being. You will begin to hear things within you, not voices, not spirits, just clarity. And clarity is improvement. Fix your body, your instrument life. Your body is not a nuisance to carry around. And it is the most fantastic gadget on the planet. But how many of you treat your phone better than your spine? Wake up, do some yoga, and walking, stretching, dancing, anything to make the body agile. A sluggish body creates a sluggish life, and every single day a miracle happens. You open your eyes, your breath flows effortlessly. Your heart, which beats without your permission all night, is still keeping rhythm. The sun rises, whether you notice it or not. The birds sing even if you've forgotten how to listen. But what do most people do? They wake up, reach for their phones, and scroll. And they don't say good morning to life. They say hello to notifications, memes, group chats, advertisements, and anxiety. You see, and the way you begin your day is like the foundation of a building. If the first brick is crooked, the whole structure shakes. But if you place it with awareness, everything that follows gains strength. If your mornings are unconscious, rushed, or reactive, and your whole day becomes a string of reactions, not responses, you are no longer steering your life. You're just being dragged by it. And what does it mean to start your day consciously? It means to choose how you meet life the moment you open your eyes. And before you meet your phone, your calendar or job, your stress, meet yourself. Because if you don't meet yourself every day, you'll start feeling like a stranger in your own body. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine waking up in a quiet room. There's soft morning light coming through the window. You lie still for just 1 extra minute. You don't reach for anything. And you don't think about the tasks ahead, but just I'm alive. I have another day. I exist. And in that moment changes everything. Because now, your emotion of the day is not stress. It is presence. And let's take this further. You sit up, stretch your arms, maybe smile, not because something funny happened, But because you remembered that alive is enough reason to smile, you drink glass of warm water, maybe step outside and feel the air on your skin. You are aware of the sky, of the ground under your feet, of the breath entering your lungs. You have started your day not as a machine, but as a living being. From that place, anything is possible. Now compare this to how most people live. Alarm rings, eyes barely open, phone in hand, scroll, scroll, scroll. Mind bombarded before the feet touch the floor. The nervous system is already hijacked, and cortisol, the stress hormone, is already flowing like a flood. And we wonder why we feel drained by noon. And you don't a 2-hour morning routine to change your life. You just need the first 10 minutes to be yours, not your boss's, not your friends', not Instagram's, yours. What you do in those first moments sets the tone. That is why the wise ones across centuries have always said, win your morning and you win your day. Let's bring it even closer. And think about how you treat someone you love. Let's say your child, partner, or pet. When they wake up, what do? You smile at them. You speak softly. You hold them. You make sure they begin the day feeling safe and loved. And now imagine if you treated yourself that way. You would become a different person in 30 days. And here's the secret. You don't have to wait for the perfect lifestyle, vacation, or situation to do this. And you can do this tomorrow morning. You don't even need silence. You can do it in a noisy house, with kids jumping, with deadlines waiting, with bills unpaid. Because it's not about the outside noise, it's about the inner awareness. When you wake up before the world rushes in, breathe, notice, feel. Say to yourself, this day is a gift, and I will begin it with gratitude, not with urgency. If you are a spiritual person, you can turn it into a prayer. If you are a scientific person, you can turn it into a mental practice. But either way, give yourself those conscious minutes before anything else enters. It's like tuning an instrument before you play music, and you don't start playing a guitar with loose strings. You tune it, then the melody flows. Your mind and body are the same. If you tune them in the morning with awareness, stillness, breath, or intention, your entire day comes a smoother rhythm. And problems won't vanish, but you will face them with clarity, not chaos. Don't believe me? Try this for 7 days and start your mornings with minutes of presence before the phone, before the rush. See how your mood shifts and see how your reactions slow down. See how energy rises. Life is not about massive changes in one day. It's about small conscious shifts repeated every day. Start your day consciously. And it's the first door to a life that feels more like you. In this world, too many people walk around with long faces, tightly clenched jaws, and eyes full of stress. Why? Because somewhere along the way, they started believing that if they look serious, they must be doing something important. But let me ask you, have you ever seen a flower bloom with a frown? Have you ever seen a child giggle seriously? No. Because seriousness is a disease we pick up, we grow up thinking it makes us mature, respectable, or intelligent. And seriousness is not strength, it's stiffness. And anything stiff eventually breaks. There's a big misunderstanding in society, and people think seriousness means commitment. They think being lighthearted means being careless. But that's simply not true, and there's a profound difference between being serious and being sincere. And Seriousness from the ego, from wanting to control outcomes, impress others, or prove something. It makes you rigid. It builds walls. Sincerity comes from the heart, from love for what you're doing, from honesty with yourself, and from a genuine intention to do your best. It makes you open. It builds bridges. Let's take a simple example. Imagine two people working at the same job. One of them walks around stiff, constantly frowning, always in a rush, and he talks about how busy he is, how stressful everything is. He thinks he's the pillar holding the whole office together. And he wears his stress like a badge of honor. But if you look closely, he's exhausted, irritable, and nobody enjoys working with him. Now look at the second person. She shows up with a smile. She takes her work seriously. Yes, but she doesn't take herself too seriously. She jokes with her coworkers, helps when someone's stuck, and even when the pressure is high, she doesn't lose her balance. People are drawn to her energy, and she's not any less competent. In fact, she's more efficient because her mind is relaxed and focused. This is the power of sincerity over seriousness. Seriousness creates stress. Sincerity creates success with joy. And we to apply this not just at work, but everywhere, in our relationships, our personal growth, and our spiritual journey. Many people say, I want to improve myself. I want to be better. That's beautiful. But then they turn it into a stressful project. They say things like, I must meditate 2 hours. I must eat perfectly. I must achieve this and that. They become so tight and so goal-driven that they forget the whole point of self-improvement, which is to become more alive, more joyful, more free. And self-improvement is not punishment. It's not about beating yourself up for where you are. It's about loving yourself enough to grow, and sincerely, step by step, with patience, compassion, and even a little laughter. And you don't need to walk around with a spiritual or serious face to evolve. You just need to show up each day sincerely, and that's enough. Let me tell you something real. A child learning to walk falls down many times. But the child is not serious about it. They giggle, they try again, and they keep going. That's sincerity within. That's what keeps them growing. But if you put that same child into an adult mindset, full of fear, full of shame, they'd never take a second step. You see, when you're sincere, failure is not a problem. And mistakes are part of the dance. You fall, you smile, you learn. But when you're serious, every mistake feels like a crisis. Had time. And over time, you become failed. You stop trying altogether. Now you may say, this world is difficult. And life is hard. Should I not be serious about my responsibilities? Of course you should be committed. You should care. But commitment with joy is far more powerful than commitment with stress. A person who is sincere will give their 100% and still sleep peacefully. A serious person will give their 100% and still worry whether it was enough. So how do you shift from seriousness to sincerity? And start with small things. If you're washing dishes, don't do it with a heavy face. Be present. Do it with care, and maybe even sing a little. If you're in a meeting, be fully there, not because you want to look important, but because you genuinely value your time and theirs. If you're learning a new skill, allow yourself to be a beginner, and laugh at your mistakes. Smile more, not impress others, but to soften the tightness in your own chest. Remember, chest. Life is not an exam. There's no final report card. There's only the experience of being alive, moment by moment. So drop the seriousness. It is not your soul's nature. Be sincere, be playful, be awake, be present, and because the truth is, the most powerful people are not the ones who look serious. They are the ones who are so sincere and so committed and so joyful in their being that everything they touch blooms. And if you can bring that kind of sincerity to your everyday life, whether you're cooking, working, talking, loving, or just walking down the street, you are already improving, you already evolving, not with tension, but with grace. And in the noise of the modern world, the rarest thing is silence. We live in a time where distraction is not just a habit, it has become a lifestyle. From the moment we wake up to the moment we sleep, our attention is pulled in 100 directions. Texts, emails, real calls, breaking news, endless opinions. We are constantly but connected, yet rarely connected to the one person who matters most, ourselves. Let me ask you something very simple, Anne. When was the last time you quietly with yourself? No phone, no agenda, no conversation, just you alone, aware, breathing. Most people will hesitate to answer, because even if they had a free 15 minutes, they'd rather scroll through Instagram or reply to messages than sit with their own presence. But here's the truth. If you don't know how to be with yourself, you'll never truly feel at peace. No matter how many friends you have, how much you achieve, or how busy you keep yourself, a part of you will always feel restless. And spending time with yourself isn't loneliness, it's intimacy with your own life. And when practiced regularly, it becomes one of the most transformative tools for personal growth, clarity, and inner strength. Let's take a daily life example. Imagine a glass of muddy water. If you keep shaking it, the water will always look cloudy. But if you just let it sit still for a while, the dirt settles at the bottom. The water becomes clear again, and your mind is no different. If you keep it stimulated every second with media, gossip, worry, scrolling, and planning, your thoughts become cloudy, chaotic. But if you give yourself 15 minutes of stillness each day, something magical happens. The chaos settles, clarity returns, is powerful. Let's say you work a demanding job and you're constantly running between deadlines, managing people, dealing with pressure. After a point, your decisions become reactive, and you're not thinking, you're just surviving. But now imagine if you take just 15 minutes at the start or end of each day and sit in silence. No email, phones, no multitasking, just you breathing, observing, and those 15 minutes can recharge your mind more deeply than an hour of scrolling ever could. You may not realize it at first. In fact, when you begin this practice, you might feel restless. You might feel like you're wasting time, and you might feel the urge to pick up your phone every 30 seconds. That's natural, because your mind is addicted to noise. But if you persist, if you simply sit through the discomfort, something shifts. You begin to hear thoughts you usually ignore. And you notice patterns in your thinking. You see the emotional residue left from your day. And you realize how much you're carrying that doesn't even belong to you. And slowly you start letting go. And this time with yourself doesn't need to be complicated. You don't need candles or mantras or mountains. And you just need a quiet corner. Sit down, close your eyes if you want. Keep them open if you prefer, but stay with yourself. Breathe and observe. You'll see your thoughts come and go, like clouds passing through the sky. You don't have to chase them. You don't have to judge them. Just watch. If an emotion rises, feel it. If a memory surfaces, acknowledge it. And if your mind goes blank, beautiful. That's a gift in itself. And here's the deeper truth. And when you regularly spend time with yourself, you begin to build a relationship with your own inner being. You begin to trust yourself. You stop looking to others for constant validation, and you stop comparing your life with someone else's highlight reel. Because now you're aired in your own presence, and you begin to enjoy your own company. You begin to see that you are enough just as you are, without any performance, without any filters. And once you reach that point, you become magnetic. And not because you're trying, but because people are drawn to someone who is rooted in themselves, someone who is calm in chaos, and someone who listens deeply, speaks mindfully, and acts from a place of balance. So many people say, I want peace. I want to feel better. I want to be happy. But they keep running further and further away from themselves, hoping happiness is hidden in the next notification, the next plan, the next success. It's not. Happiness is here. Peace is here. And clarity is here, inside you, waiting. But you must show up, not once a month, every day, like watering a plant, consistently and gently, patiently. So carve out those 15 minutes. Wake a little earlier if you must. Take a break in the afternoon. Pause before you sleep. Lock the door. Turn off the screen. Be still. Because in those minutes, you don't just improve yourself, you begin to remember who you are beneath the noise, beneath the roles, beneath the story. You are life itself, and life needs space to breathe. Give it that space every day. Just 15 minutes with Anne, and watch how the world with you changes quietly, beautifully, forever. Anne, your body is not just a container. It is your first home, oracle interface with life. Without it, Anne, you have no experience, no sound, no touch, no taste, no thought, no emotion, no joy. Everything you know, everything you feel, everything you dream begins and ends in the body. Yet, strangely, with Anne, we live in a world where people care more about the health of their phone battery than the health of their spine. We charge our devices more than we recharge ourselves, and we update our software but neglect the hardware that carries us every single day, our bones, our blood, our breath. And let me put it simply, if your body is not working well, nothing else will work well. You may be intelligent, talented, ambitious, or even spiritual, but if your body is tired, stiff, bloated, pained, or disconnected from you, your full potential remains locked. It's like trying to play beautiful music on an out-of-tune guitar. That's why this is not about fitness, fashion, or six-packs. And this is about honoring the instrument of life that you've been given. Let's use a daily example. And imagine waking up in the morning and your body is aching. Your joints are stiff. Your energy is low. And you force yourself to get out of bed. You rush through your routine. Your breath is shallow, your posture is slouched, and you feel more like a machine than a human being. Now, compare that to a different morning, where you stretch your arms, take your deep breaths, roll your shoulders, maybe even spend 10 minutes doing some simple yoga or walking outside with Anne. Your spine loosens, your blood begins to flow. Your mind feels more alert. You are not just existing, you are alive, and it's a complete experience of the same day. Fixing your body doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you become a bodybuilder or run marathons, unless that's your joy. And it simply means you treat your body as your ally, not your prisoner. You listen to it, you care for it, you allow it to thrive. Let me give you a simple truth. Most of your suffering is not because of external events, but because your body and mind are not aligned. You eat foods that make you sleepy. You sit in ways that damage your spine. And you breathe shallowly, which increases anxiety. You don't move enough, so your energy stagnates. Over time, this becomes a pattern, and you start thinking life is heavy, when in fact, your body is just begging for balance. A person with an aligned, active body will feel more confident, more peaceful, more capable, and even their emotions will be more stable. Because the body and the mind are not separate. They are two ends of the same rope, and if one is tangled, the other will suffer. Let's make this even more practical. You don't need to overhaul your life. Start with 15 minutes a day. You can walk briskly. You can stretch. You can do a few rounds of Surya Namaskar. You can dance to your favorite song. You can do bodyweight exercises. Whatever you choose, do it not out of guilt, but out of respect. Respect for the fact that your legs are still carrying you. Your lungs are still breathing. Your heart is still beating, all without a single complaint. Have you ever truly paused to thank your body for that? And we often admire temples and machines and buildings, but this structure of skin, blood, nerves, and bones is the most sophisticated technology on the planet, and you get to live inside it. Yet we pollute it, overfeed it, and starve it, sit in one place for 10 hours, feed it processed food, and then we wonder why we feel weak, foggy, or uninspired. And improving yourself means upgrading your awareness of the body. It means checking in. How's my breath? How's my posture? And have I moved today? Have hydrated myself? These are not small things. These are the roots of daily life experience. And do you know why children are joyful for no reason? It's because they live in their bodies, jumping, running, rolling, dancing, climbing. Movement keeps them connected. As adults, we live more in our heads and we disconnect from the body. And the joy disappears not because life got harder, but because we forgot how to move with life. And even one conscious action can change everything. For instance, when you wake up, instead of scrolling, take deep breaths. Put your feet on the floor with awareness. Drink warm water. Do a forward bend. Activate your spine. In that one moment, and you are telling your body, I care for you. And it will respond. It will support you. It will give you more energy, more clarity, and more strength. It will carry you toward your goals, your dharma, if you treat it well. And fix your body not because it's broken, but because it deserves your love. It has served you faithfully through illness, heartbreak, and overwork and neglect. Imagine what it could do if you worked with it, not against it. So let your body breathe. Let it move. Let it stretch. Let it be honored, because this body is not your enemy. It is your temple, your bridge to this beautiful, chaotic, and sacred experience called life. Treat it like a blessing, and life will begin to feel like one too. And we often talk about transformation like it's a distant miracle. And we imagine a moment when everything will suddenly change. We'll wake up early, meditate for an hour, eat clean, and work like a machine and smile like a saint. But life doesn't work that way. Real change doesn't come through dramatic declarations, and it comes from small shifts repeated consistently. And one of the most powerful ways to improve yourself every day is to drop just one bad habit each week and gently and deliberately replace it with something better. Don't try to change everything at once. That's a trap. People often make the mistake of setting massive goals overnight. From tomorrow, no food, no Netflix, and no procrastination. I will become a new person. They get excited, even obsessed, for a few days and then reality crashes in. Old patterns return, motivation fades, and guilt takes over. You start thinking, the maybe change isn't for me. But the issue isn't you, it's your strategy. You don't conquer a mountain in a single leap. And you take one step, and then another. And when you fall, because you will, you don't give up. You course correct, not self-destruct. So here's a more beautiful, sustainable approach. Every week, just focus on one habit. One small behavior that you know is not serving you. One little thing that's holding you back, wasting your time, or draining your energy. Could be checking your phone first thing in the morning, or eating late at night, or skipping water throughout the day, or complaining without realizing it, or binge-watching shows until 2 a.m., or speaking negatively about others. The habit itself doesn't have to be dramatic, but your awareness of it must be deep. Let's take a real-life example. Say every night after dinner, you reach for your phone and scroll for an hour, and you're not even enjoying it anymore, or just trapped in it. You end up going to bed later than you should, and your sleep is disturbed, and the next day you wake up groggy. That one small habit is silently damaging your entire rhythm. So now, for just this week, you decide, I will replace post-dinner phone time with a walk and 10 minutes of journaling. And you don't ban the phone forever. You just give your mind a new direction. You might find resistance at first. Your fingers will reach for the phone out of muscle memory. You'll feel restless, like something's missing. But this is where transformation happens, in that space between urge and choices. If you can breathe through the discomfort and make the new habit easier and accessible, you will start rewiring your mind. Within a few days, you may notice something surprising. You begin to enjoy your evening walks. You start looking forward to journaling. You feel calmer before sleep. The new habit starts growing roots. And suddenly, you're not just trying to changing, you are changing. This is how momentum builds. The following week, you pick another habit, maybe instead of mindlessly snacking at 4 p.m., or you make a smoothie or have fruit, or instead of snapping at people in traffic, you practice deep breathing in silence. Tiny shifts, but over weeks and months, they add up to a massive transformation. Here's the secret. Bad habits don't need to be broken. They need to be replaced, because the human mind doesn't like empty space. If you just remove something, a vacuum is created, and the old habit will come rushing back. But if you replace it with a powerful and positive action, the old path begins to fade, and a new one forms in the brain. This is not theory, it's neuroscience, and your brain literally creates new neural pathways based on repeated behavior. Every time you choose the new habit over the old, you're reinforcing that pathway. Over time, what once felt hard becomes automatic. And this process also teaches you something deeper, that you are not your habits. And just because you've always procrastinated doesn't mean you're lazy. And just because you've always overeaten doesn't mean you're undisciplined. With Anne, these are just patterns your brain has been trained to follow. And the beautiful thing about the brain is it can be retrained. And the most inspiring people in the world, the ones we admire for their discipline, creativity, or presence, they weren't born different. They just built better systems. And they replaced what didn't serve them with what uplifted them, consistently, quietly, patiently. And you can do the same. And start sitting by self with your minutes and asking, but what's one small habit I can let go of this week? Don't pick 10, just one. Then ask, to what can I do instead that nourishes me, that aligns with the person I want to become? Make it simple. Make it doable. Then begin. Track your progress. Celebrate even the smallest wins. Be kind to yourself when you slip. And because this is not a punishment, it's a gift you've to your future self. And if you do this every week, even if only half your attempts succeed, you'll still have dropped 20 were bad habits and adopted 20 were new ones in just 6 months. And that's not just improvement, that's evolution. So drop one, pick, begin, because your life will not change from one grand act. It will change when, week after week, and you say to yourself, with sincerity and grace, but this version of me no longer serves who I'm becoming. And then you choose better. One small habit at a time. And there's an ancient saying that goes, but words once spoken are like arrows released, they do not return. And yet in today's world, we throw words around carelessly as if they are weightless. We conversations with noise, commentary, judgment, opinions, gossip, and then wonder why our relationships feel shallow, our minds cluttered, and our hearts heavy. But the truth is, words are not just sound. They are power. They can heal or they can hurt. They can uplift or destroy. They can open doors or close hearts. Every word you speak leaves an imprint on others and, more importantly, on yourself. And this is why one of the most transformative practices for personal growth is to speak less, speak truth, and speak kindly. Let's begin with speaking less. You may have noticed that we often speak not to express something meaningful, but to fill silence. And silence makes people uncomfortable, not because silence is wrong, but because most of us have forgotten how to be in it. So we talk endlessly. We explain, interrupt, advise, complain, gossip, defend, and then dominate. But when you begin to speak less, something amazing happens. You start listening more, not just to others, but to yourself. And you hear your thoughts before they become sound. You begin to choose your words with more care. You stop reacting impulsively. And in that space between stimulus and speech, you discover awareness. Try this in your everyday life, and the next time you feel the urge to speak, pause. Ask yourself, is this necessary? Is it kind? Is it true? It's just noise. Let it pass. You will notice that 70% of what we say daily could be reduced without losing anything essential. And in fact, by saying less, our words gain more power. And take the example of someone in the workplace who speaks only when they have something of real value to say. When they speak, and people listen. What? Why? Because they've built word trust. They are not flooding the space with opinions or empty chatter. Their words carry weight because they are used with intention. Now let's talk about speaking truth. And truth doesn't mean being brutally honest. It means being genuine, being aligned, speaking from a place of integrity. And it means your inner world and your outer words are not in conflict. And we live in a time where so many people wear masks, saying what others want to hear, hiding their real thoughts, and pretending to be agreeable, afraid of rejection or confrontation. But when you constantly suppress your truth and you come disconnected from yourself, you begin to doubt your own voice. Speaking truth isn't always comfortable, and it may not always please people, but it will set you free. This could be as simple as saying no when you mean no, or admitting I don't know instead of pretending to be an expert, or expressing your needs in a relationship without guilt, or choosing silence when your truth might cause unnecessary harm. Truth doesn't always need to be loud. Sometimes the most truthful sentence is a quiet one. "But this is how I feel." And then there's the final, most beautiful piece. And speaking kindly. It's not flatness. It is strength softened by compassion. And it means you recognize your words can either plant seeds of healing or thorns of hurt. You choose healing. And let me give you a daily life example. You come home tired. You've had a long day. Your child spills something, or your spouse forgets to do something. You're irritated. You could lash out, speak sharply, express your frustration. It would feel justified in the moment, but pause, breathe. Ask yourself, and what would kindness sound like right now? It might sound like, "But it's okay. We all make mistakes." Or "Let's clean this together." Or even just silence and a soft smile. These small acts of verbal kindness shape relationships. They shape homes, and they create emotional safety. And in that safety, people blossom. Because nobody ever grew from being criticized, judged, or shamed. And we grow when we feel seen, heard, and encouraged. And that begins with the words we choose. And the same applies to how we speak about others when they are not in the room. Gossip may feel entertaining, but it quietly poisons our energy. Every time we speak ill of someone behind their back, we lower our own vibration. It's like drinking dirty water and expecting someone else to get sick. Instead, try this. When tempted to speak negatively, pause and either stay silent or find one good thing to say about that person. Not to fake it, but to train your mind to look for light instead of darkness. This shift may seem small, but over time, it changes your inner chemistry. You feel lighter, clearer, more dignified. Your speech becomes a source of light, not noise. And you don't need a perfect vocabulary or an elegant accent to make your words beautiful. And you just need to infuse them with consciousness. Speak less so you may listen more. Speak truth so your soul can breathe. And speak kindly so the world around you begins to soften. Your voice is one of the most sacred tools you have. Use it with care. And it will not only transform how others see you, it will transform how you see yourself.